See my friends, in this life, marry a good woman, you get why. As I am seated here, if I tell my wife to transfer 500k to my account, she will send it without question.
Are you sure?
You want to try me? As you see me here drinking beer with you, we are not mates, so I will see you guys later in the evening. Let me go and have my bath.
Hey, pretty girl.
I beg, leave me, Jerry.
Wait now. Do you know you are a fine girl? Why are you walking under the sun?
I am going for jam lesson.
Oh, you are still a student. My wife is a manager at a very big company.
So you are married. What is my business with your wife? Why did you stop me this early morning? Bad market.
See this small girl. All my wife's wig will buy your generation.
I am indeed a lucky man. These people see me walking around the street as if I am jobless. If only they know I live comfortably, all thanks to my lovely wife.
Mama Tonia, how market today?
Oga Victor, market fine. Wetin you wan buy?
Talk to me small. You are talking to the latest iPhone owner. See my wife just tear the carton for me.
Congrats, Oga Victor.
My wife wants to buy a new car, but I told her to save up to buy a Jeep instead. I am telling you all this so you can understand I am a big man.
Just tell me wetin you wan buy.
One morning, Mr. Victor went to buy bread and beans at his regular spot. Mama Tayo wrapped the hot beans carefully and placed slices of bread inside the nylon before handing it to him. As he collected the food, Mr. Victor cleared his throat proudly. Mama Tayo, do you know that my wife had just gotten a land at Ekpe? Mama Tayo paused and raised her eyebrows. Hey, really? But why are you telling me this? Mr. Victor puffed his chest so that you will know that me too. I am not a small man. My wife is doing big things. Mama Tayo looked at him carefully before replying. But, Mr. Victor, you don't go to work. Every morning, afternoon, and night, you are here bringing plates to buy food. Why is it only your wife going to work? Oga Victor laughed loudly. Ha. Mama Tayo, you don't understand this modern life. Men are the head of the family. If your wife is rich, why must a man suffer? The man should enjoy. Some customers nearby exchanged looks and quietly shook their heads. But Oga Victor continued eating proudly, as if he had just delivered a powerful speech. Everyone in that street knew Mr. Victor. Every morning, he would tie his wrapper loosely around his waist, walk slowly through the street, greeting everybody as they prepared for work. Good morning, my sister. Ha, my brother. Safe journey to the office. He greeted everyone warmly, yet he himself never went anywhere. Later that afternoon, he appeared again, this time at Mama Nkechi's fried yam stand. Mama Nkechi, give me 200 naira yam, he said. As she served him, he began another announcement. My wife is about to write promotional exam at her office. If she passes, she will become the regional manager. Mama Nkechi nodded politely. It is not her first time hearing such story from Oga Victor. That means more money for us, Mr. Victor added proudly. A young woman standing nearby whispered to her friends, so why is he still here every day? They both giggled quietly. Mr. Victor ignored them and continued eating. That evening, the street was lively again. At the suya joint, Mr. Victor sat on a wooden bench, chatting with some young men. My wife is a very successful woman, he told them again. She works in a big company. Land here, promotion there. One of the boys smiles faintly. You are a lucky man. Mr. Victor nodded proudly. Yes, so I am very lucky. And so, the man who never worked spent another day moving from one shop to another, filling the streets with stories about a success that was not truly his. My dear viewers, I hope you are enjoying this story. But before we continue, can you guess what state in Nigeria Mr. Victor come from? As we continue into this story, I hope you are sitting tight. Mr. Victor's wife is the complete opposite of her husband. While Mr. Victor spent his mornings moving from one food store to another, Mrs. Victor spent hours preparing for work. Every weekday, she woke up before sunrise. She cooked breakfast, ironed her clothes neatly, and stepped out of the house looking elegant and confident. She was a beautiful woman with calm eyes and gentle smile. But beyond her beauty was something even more admirable, her dedication. As As the company where she worked, she was known as one of the most reliable staff members. Her supervisors trusted her, and many of her colleagues respected her discipline. Whenever there was an important project, her name was often among the first to be mentioned, but despite her success, she remained humble. That evening, as she drove slowly into their street after work, she noticed Mama Tayo waving excitedly at her from the roadside. Auntie, Auntie, stop small. Mrs. Victor slowed down and rolled down her window. Yes, Mama Tayo, good evening. Mama Tayo beamed with excitement. Congratulations, oh! Your husband told me you recently bought a land in Ekpe. We will soon come and celebrate with you. For a brief moment, Mrs. Victor was speechless. Land in Ekpe? Her eyes widened slightly. She had indeed bought the land recently, but she had only mentioned it to one person, her husband. She forced a polite smile. Ha! Thank you, Mama Tayo. As she drove the short distance home, her mind was already troubled. It was not the first time. Mr. Victor had the habit of sharing private matters with the entire street as if their home was a public announcement center. Still, she tried not to be too angry. She had always believed that with patience, he would eventually change. When she entered the house, Mr. Victor was already sitting comfortably in the living room, watching television. Welcome, my wife, he said cheerfully. She placed her handbag down slowly. Victor, she began carefully. Why did you tell Mama Tayo that I bought a land? Mr. Victor looked surprised. Is that a bad thing? It is good news now. People should know that we are progressing. His wife sighed softly. But our private matters don't have to be shared with everyone. Mr. Victor waved his hand dismissively. My dear, don't worry too much. Let them know we are not their mates. Mrs. Victor said nothing more. Deep inside her heart, she only whispered a quiet prayer. One day, she hoped her husband would finally understand. The next morning returned to the streets the way it always did, with the sound of buses honking, traders calling out their prices, and workers hurrying to begin their day. And like clockwork, Mr. Victor stepped out of his house, tying his wrapper loosely around his waist. He stretched his arm and looked around the street as if he were a man supervising a busy kingdom. Good morning, my people, he shouted cheerfully. Good morning, a few neighbors replied politely as they hurried past him. Some of them were already used to this routine. While everyone rushed to work, Mr. Victor's own work seems to be greeting people and moving from one stall to another. Soon, he arrived at Mama Tayo's stand again. Mama Tayo, give me pap and akara this morning, he said. As he ate, he began another conversation. My wife came home very tired yesterday, he announced loudly. Her office is preparing for promotional exam. Once she passes, that is regional manager level. Mama Tayo nodded while serving other customers. That is good news, she said. Oga Victor smiled proudly. Of course, my wife is a brilliant woman. Oh, that woman, don't try her. A man standing nearby asked casually. So, Victor, when are you returning to your own work? Mr. Victor laughed as if the question was amusing. Why should I stress myself? He replied. When God has blessed a man with a hardworking wife, the man should rest small. The man shook his head slightly, but said nothing. Later that afternoon, Mrs. Victor returned from work early. She found her husband lying comfortably on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. Victor, she said gently, sitting beside him. Yes, my dear, I have been thinking, she continued. Would you like to start a business or maybe apply for a job somewhere? Mr. Victor frowned immediately. Why are you always bringing this up? Work matters here and there, he asked. I am not trying to insult you, she said softly. You are educated. You have potential. It will be good for you to have something doing. Mr. Victor sat up. So now you want to make me feel useless because you are earning salary? No, that's not what I mean, she replied quickly. But Mr. Victor had already turned his face away. Leave that matter, he said. I am comfortable the way things are. Mrs. Victor fell silent. She knew that whenever this conversation started, it always ended the same way. And once again, peace in the house became more important than winning the argument. A few days later, Mrs. Victor was preparing to leave her office for the day when her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and smiled immediately. It was Linda, one of her closest friends from the university days. They had not spoken in a long time. "Linda, where have you been?" Mrs. Victor said excitedly as she answered the call. "My dear, life has been busy." Linda laughed. "But I was just thinking about you today and decided to call." They spoke for several minutes, catching up on old memories and laughing about their university days. Then Linda suddenly asked, "How is your husband, Victor?" Mrs. Victor paused briefly before replying, "He is fine." "Is he working now?" Linda asked. Mrs. Victor hesitated again. "No, not yet. I have tried to encourage him, but he's not really interested." There was a short silence on the line. "Well," Linda said after a moment, "this might be good news then." Mrs. Victor sat up straight in her chair. "What do you mean?" "There is an opening in my company," Linda explained. "It is an administrative position. If Victor is interested, I can arrange an interview for him." Mrs. Victor's face lit up with excitement. "Really?" "Yes," Linda replied. "It's a decent job and a good place to start. If he performs well, there are opportunities for promotion later." Mrs. Victor thanked her friend repeatedly before ending the call. For the rest of the drive home, her heart was full of hope. Finally, there was a chance that Victor might have something meaningful to do every day. That evening, she found him sitting outside the house chatting with a few neighbors. "Honey, I need to talk to you," she said when he came inside. "What happened?" he asked casually. "My friend Linda called today," she began. "There was a job opening at her company. She said she can arrange an interview for you." Mr. Victor looked at her quietly. "What kind of job?" "It's an administrative role," she explained. "The salary may not be very big in the beginning, but this is a very big opportunity." Victor leaned back in his chair and shook his head slowly. "That job is too small for me. For somebody like me, no, it is too small." Mrs. Victor blinked in surprise. "Too small?" "Yes," he replied confidently. "Why should I be stressing myself every day just to collect peanuts at the end of the month?" She tried to reason with him. "Only, it's not only about the salary. It will give you something productive to do." But Mr. Victor had already made up his mind. "No," he said firmly, "I am not interested." And just like that, another opportunity quietly slipped away. After rejecting the job opportunity his wife brought home, Mr. Victor continued his life exactly the way he had always lived it. Every morning, the same routine repeated itself. While the streets came alive with people rushing to work, Mr. Victor would step out slowly, stretching his arm as if the whole neighborhood belonged to him. "Good morning, good morning," he greeted cheerfully. Some people answered politely and others simply nodded and continued walking. Many of them had begun to see him differently. They no longer saw him as a respectable man of the house. To them, Mr. Victor had slowly become the man who lived off his wife's success. Guys, are you yet to subscribe to this channel? Please click on the subscribe button and don't forget to like this video, and I'm sure you are enjoying it. But Mr. Victor did not notice the change, or perhaps he simply refused to notice. Later that morning, he appeared again at Mama Nkechi's fried yam stand. "Mama Nkechi, give me fried yam and egg," he said. As she served him, two women standing nearby were whispering to each other. "That man again," one of them murmured. "He is always here, every day," the other replied. Mr. Victor heard them but pretended not to. Instead, he raised his voice proudly. "My wife's company is planning promotional exam very soon," he announced again for the fifth time. "Once she passes, she will become the regional manager in her company." Mama Ikechi have heard this several times. She nodded politely. "That will be good for your family," she said. Mr. Victor smiled proudly. "Yes, that means bigger money." One of the women could not hold herself anymore. "Victor," she said bluntly, "if your wife is the one working and making money, what are you doing exactly?" A few people nearby chuckled softly. Mr. Victor laughed loudly as if the question was a joke. Don't worry about me," he said. "So far my wife is doing well. That is enough." The woman shook her head. "That is not something to be proud of." But Mr. Victor only waved his hand dismissively and continued eating again. By evening, he moved again, this time to his regular suya spot at the corner of the street. Several young men were sitting there chatting and eating. Victor joined them happily. "My wife is very successful," he began once more. My wife works for a big company. She has a big position and big money. One of the young men smiled faintly. You are lucky, Oga. Yes, Mr. Victor replied proudly. I am a very, very lucky man. The young man exchanged quiet glances.